The ice will melt no matter what. In the Arctic, the average temperature is rising 4 times faster than the global average. If the world were to get only 2 degrees Celsius hotter on average, that would mean the melting of the Arctic sea ice. And I mean the majority of it. Our global glaciers have always melted. It's part of the season's change. Snow falls, ice forms, temperatures rises, and ice recedes. For hundreds of thousands of years, these cycles have kept their balance. However, today the balance is shifting and breaking. The moment the temperature climbs above freezing, at 0 degrees Celsius, ice starts to melt, heat seeps into the structure, and water molecules begin to move freely. The heat building in our atmosphere and oceans is already more than enough to keep melting ice for decades to come, even if all greenhouse gas emissions stopped today. This is not a prediction, it's a measurement. Scientists call this climate momentum, the delay but inevitable response of the planet to the changes we've already set in motion. Some people imagine that the melting of ice is like a tap we can shut off whenever we choose. But that's not how it works. Glaciers and ice sheets are massive systems with their own momentum. Once they start shrinking, they don't stop suddenly. It's like cutting a tree and then you push it over. Even if you stop pushing, the tree is already cut. Doesn't matter. The wind will bring it down. And ice doesn't just disappear quietly. When it melts, it changes the planet around it. Bright white ice reflects sunlight back into space, a shield known as albedo. But when the ice disappears, the darker ocean water beneath absorbs far more heat. That extra heat melts even more ice in a self-reinforcing loop that gains more and more momentum. The more we lose, the faster we lose it. In Greenland, vast rivers of melted water now snake across the ice sheet in summer, cutting deep blue channels that carry heat into the heart of the glacier. In Antarctica, ice shelves, the floating platforms that hold back massive inland glaciers, are cracking and collapsing. Once they're gone, the ice behind them will flow into the sea much faster. This is a fast and accelerated process, one that scientists can measure but not easily stop. And while this is happening, animals that depend on ice are running out of options. For the emperor penguin, sea ice is a shelter for their eggs. It's where they lay their eggs, where chicks humble against the Arctic wind. But in recent years, entire colonies have lost nearly every chick because the ice beneath broke apart before they could grow strong enough to swim. For polar bears too, ice is not just a platform. It's the foundation for their hunting grounds. They use it to stalk seals, to rest between long swims, to store the energy they need to survive in the dark Arctic winter. Without ice, they are forced to swim for days in search of food, and most would never make it. For the walrus, ice is a safe resting place between dives. Without it, they are forced into land in huge numbers. This raises the chance of them being frightened, and when that happens, the youngest among them is getting crushed. These are not isolated tragedies, they are patterns repeating more often every year. A lot of this ice will melt no matter what we do. That's the reality locked into the physics and the heat we've already added to the system. Every fraction of a degree matters. A world that warms by 1.5 Celsius is not the same as one that warms by just 2 Celsius. At 1.5, we lose much of the summer Arctic sea ice, but not all of it. At 2, The summer ice is almost entirely gone, and with it, countless ecosystems. The melting is inevitable in some places because there have already been crossed certain thresholds. Glaciers in the Alps, in the Andes, and even some parts of Greenland are now too small to survive this century. They will vanish because the balance of heat has tipped too far. But in other places, like the East Arctic ice sheet, the balance can still be held if there is fast action. And it's not just about the animals or the beauty of frozen landscapes. We might not know it, but 2 billion people rely on the melted water from glaciers for drinking water, farming, and electricity. As glaciers disappear, rivers will first flood and then dry, leaving communities without the water they've depended on for centuries. The sea level will rise, driven largely by melting of ice. It will reshape coastlines worldwide. From London to Beijing, entire neighborhoods, entire cities will be forced to evacuate. The ice will melt, this is certain. But how much, how fast, and what disappears with it, this is the part we can decide. We need to save as much as possible for the sake of our future generations. It's about preserving stability, protecting life, and honoring the natural systems that have sustained us for millennia.